On the news, Senate kicks against 17 trillion naira loss to tax waivers. Bill to introduce state police skills second reading. And Senate to probe CBN's anchor borrowers' Ways and Means program. Glad to have you join us on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkwulie. Now we'll begin with the Senate Committee on Finance, which has expressed concerns over the loss of 17 trillion naira to tax waivers in the last 5 years. During an interactive session with the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), the committee urged the agency to strive for a tax revenue target of 30 trillion naira in 2024. Now, Chairman of the committee, Sani Musa, argued that the nation is losing a significant amount of money to tax waivers. Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zak Adedeji, assured the committee that adjustment will be made to the nation's tax laws to address current challenges.
The tax administration and tax rebate system in Nigeria will not only ensure fairness, but also bolster revenue generation. So for critical national development, we really want you to look at this, because this country have lost more than 7 billion trillion in 5 years due to tax waivers and tax holidays. The backward integration policy of this government, which gives room for those holidays, we need to review it. So I think with this, I can say that you are fostering much of accountability in your collections. You are doing very well. The innovations you are bringing to tax administration in this country need to be commended.
The Senate is resolved to further investigate the 10 trillion naira anchor borrowers program of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and the Ways and Means loans scrutinized by previous administration of the country. The Royal Chamber said the move is with a view to plug in loopholes in future development finance activities of the APAS Bank. Now, senators also resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the details of the Ways and Means, including the various intervention programs such as Anchor Borrowers Program, monies given to state government, manufacturers, aviation, banks, excess funding in the power sectors, among others, which raised the current debt profile of the country.
Under monetary policy, one, to make sure that the states pay off their loans that they got to show up their economies, and the other one is to interrogate this one single big item, the Anchor Borrowers Program and its administration. So there are two issues here, which I think the National Assembly, the Senate needs to consider.
Let us look at these issues holistically and properly, and even if we have to get some people outside, because what it seems now is that people are just wallowing in a problem and they will drown all of us. We need to do this quickly, because you can see our people are running out of patience. And we need to be serious when we come to discussion in this chamber, because people are watching us. If we are not looking at this problem seriously, you'll be surprised. God forbid.
Mr. President, I think what Ndime is saying is not correct. We have already legalized the 22 billion trillion that was given to us. For the Ways and Means, we passed that one. But it doesn't mean we cannot investigate. We ask for details, details were not given to us. So we can investigate how the money was spent. It's our own right.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Adun, says the President Bola Tinubu's administration is auditing the 22.7 trillion naira Ways and Means loans approved by the government of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The Finance Minister said this on Tuesday at the Public Wealth Management Conference in Abuja, explaining that the details would be released soon. Now, joining me to discuss this further is Samuel Agbeluyi, the President and Chairman of Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Agbeluyi. Now, how can the government strike a balance between granting tax incentives to promote investment and ensure sufficient revenue generation to fund essential services and infrastructures?
Thank you for having me. The issue of tax waiver is actually a taxation instrument. And taxation is not necessarily the collection of revenue. Taxation can also be a tool of regulating the economy into whichever direction the government wants it to go. So if the government possibly wants to improve investment in certain direction, then it builds on government to incentivize investors who may want to come into that area. And to that extent, tax waiver can be given and for a period of time in order to encourage investment in that area. And things to be considered would be variables like the innovation that the investor is bringing into the sector, the size of investment, and possibly the location where the investment will be, the kind of economic stimulation is going to bring on board. So if you want to, and the essence is that you are working on improving the size of the economy. And in a way, it can be said that tax waiver is also a way of doing delayed gratification of the money the government will get from day one, but thereby allowing the company to survive the initial teething problem for a certain number of years before they start paying taxes to the government. So for that, it's a good tool to ensure that companies can try and survive the initial hiccups and thereafter pay taxes to the government. So that is a good thing. And eventually, the taxes we have not collected, possibly for the first few years. Once the company is doing very well, then of course, you start collecting. So everybody gains. It's a win-win situation. Where the problem comes in is where that incentive is granted indiscriminately without proper due process. So that's where the problem comes in. The tax waiver in itself,
economic challenges and high cost of living. Do you believe the public will be receptive to potential tax increase aimed at meeting revenue targets?
Well, I'm sure by virtue of what I know, the government, the current government is not looking at increasing tax rates. Rather, is interested in increasing tax revenue, and you can only increase tax revenue this time around by bringing a lot of people into the tax net. Once you do that, then more people will be paying tax than the people who are paying now. So I know the populace, the economy will resist anything in the aspect of increasing the tax rate. And I'm also aware that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said repeatedly that he's not interested in decreasing tax rates. Rather, he wants many other people to come into the tax net so that we can join in building Nigeria together.
Lastly, before you go now, the Senate has said they will probe the Anchor Borrowers Program and the Ways and Means loan of the CBN. What's your take on this?
Well, that's a welcome development. The legislator has a major role to play in Nigeria, but I think it's even coming too late in the day. It's surprising that everybody is talking of the kind of thing that happened under the immediate past administration of CBN. CBN Central Bank is not supposed to be a commercial bank. So why they get into Anchor Borrower and doing the kind of a thing they did in the past 5 years or thereabout is surprising to many people within the country. So it requires to be proved so that whoever is found wanting, whoever must have went against the law, will be made to face the music and to serve as deterrent to people coming to do the job in the future. So it's a welcoming development.
All right, Samuel Agbeluyi, the President and Chairman of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Thank you for lending in your thoughts. Now moving on, in the House of Representatives, a constitution amendment bill aimed at introducing state police has passed the second reading. Now, the bill, sponsored by 13 members of the House, garnered support from a majority of lawmakers who expressed concerns about the current state of insecurity across the country. This move comes amidst growing calls for state policing as a solution to Nigeria's worsening security situation. Governors elected under the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has also reiterated their support for state policing, citing concerns that Nigeria is on the brink of a crisis similar to Venezuela.
The establishment of state police is a clarion call for a tailored, community-centric policing system. It is also an acknowledgement that our states are uniquely positioned to address the security challenges within the borders. The alterations proposed in this bill are not just alterations to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They are also the building blocks for the more secure, accountable, and resilient Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I urge you to support this bill be read the second time.
That the police should be licensed, like universities are licensed. For instance, if you want to set up a university in a state, if a state wants to set up a university, they will go to the NUC. NUC will license them. So we should find a way of licensing police. Any state that meets the condition precedent that is formed by maybe the Police Service Commission can apply.
The federal government has issued a stern warning regarding the possibility of reopening the borders to cement importation if Nigerian cement manufacturers do not cooperate with efforts to reduce cement prices in the country. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Amen Dangiwa, expressed dissatisfaction with the recurring unequal increase in the price of cement, considering that key input materials for cement production, such as limestone, clay, and the rest, are locally sourced. Now, speaking at an emergency meeting with cement and building materials manufacturers in Abuja, Dangiwa highlighted the government's decision to close the borders to cement importation in support of local manufacturers. However, he warned that if the borders were reopened, cement prices would significantly decrease, adversely affecting local manufacturers. Addressing the manufacturers directly, the minister called for patriotism, citing an example of Boa Cement willingness to lower prices below the agreed range of 7,000 naira to 8,000 naira per bag. He further urged other manufacturers to follow suit and reduce prices in the interest of the nation. Recently, about 60 members of the House of Representatives, known as the Parliamentary Group, demanded a revision of the 1999 Constitution to a parliamentary system, saying the current presidential system is too expensive and not working for the country. The lawmakers are still pressing ahead with their case, and they say they are determined to actualize it. Now, the debate over the presidential and parliamentary system has been a long-drawn one. Now, in this next report, our correspondent Chidi Igwe samples public opinion on the issue.
About 60 lawmakers who have initiated the move to end the current presidential system of government and revert to the parliamentary system of government previously practiced in Nigeria's First Republic say they hope to see it actualized by the year 2031. And to show the mean business, they already have a bill before the House on the matter, which has been read for the first time in the House.
It will be difficult, very difficult, because the thing of the mind, our people need to get to understand that this is what they want. But those who are already elected will not want to let go, knowing that it will be difficult for them to get back their seat in parliament. That's the honest truth. So I strongly doubt, but it's a good start.
He further said that the ordinary man may not buy into the idea.
Most Nigerians don't have confidence in government and the way governance is being done in this country. So I'm also very sure that the ordinary people back home may not subscribe to it because in the first place they don't even understand it. It will be seen as another way of creating opportunities for people to enrich themselves.
The move by the lawmakers has reignited the old debate about which system of government will serve the country better.
I think it's a laudable goal because when the military came in 1966 and up through all the various administrations we've had since then, they call it the First Republic, Second Republic, Third Republic, I think we're in the Fourth Republic now. All those republics after that first parliamentary system, they've all left a lot to be desired.
Nigerians cannot afford that money now. They should be reduced. We should go back to a parliamentary system, whereby you even come for when you come for a meeting, they pay you for that your meeting and you go away.
There is no system that is intrinsically good or intrinsically bad. It depends on the operators. So the mere fact that they practice a particular system in another clime and it works does not make it automatically going to work in our system.
This system is much more better than parliamentary. You know why? This one is people-oriented. Presidential election is people-oriented. People are elected from your locality and they're supposed to be seeing you every day. But they've changed it. They've turned it the other way around. That's why they're talking about coming to this parliamentary system, which also will not favor them.
The bill still has a long way to go, as it will eventually have to be endorsed by at least 2/3 of the 36th House of Assembly in the country before it becomes applicable. So the lawmakers know they still have a lot of work to do if they hope to see their quest become reality by 2031. Chidi Igwe, TV360 News, Lagos.
Transparency International and the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, has expressed concerns over the potential consequences of a looming population explosion in Nigeria. At a population conversation seminar hosted by Population Matters in collaboration with CISLAC, the Executive Director of CISLAC and Head of Transparency International Nigeria, Anwar Rafsanjani, urged Nigerians to consider adopting smaller family sizes as a solution to address the looming demographic challenges. Rafsanjani highlighted the correlation between population growth and insecurity, emphasizing that a wide gap in population literacy at the individual level poses a significant threat to sustainable development in the country.
In the past, no problem, you can have 40 children, 50 children. Now, the reality is that it is no longer possible because the economy is down, the poverty is everywhere. The infrastructure in the country is down. So there's no anybody that can come and tell you that, no, don't worry, go and have plenty wives that you cannot feed, plenty wives that you cannot take care of their health, plenty wives that you cannot provide the children with education. Government must do something. We must be responsive and responsible. We cannot allow people to be producing children that they cannot take care of.
I'm encouraging us to bring this discussion before our leaders, traditional, our religious leaders, and let them see the need to help the girl child. Give her the right education. You know, when a girl is properly educated, she'll be able to make decisions for herself.
Then women who want to space or limit their birth, we classify them as unmet needs for family planning. 19% of those women do not have access to information nor the contraceptives themselves, wherever they are.
We'll take a breather here, but still to come, CAF says 2025 AFCON to be played in July to August. Details of the story right after this break. Welcome back. Now a quick recap of our headline stories. The Constitution Amendment Bill aimed at introducing state police has passed the second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, sponsored by 13 members of the House, garnered support from a majority of lawmakers who expressed concerns about the current state of insecurity across the country. We also told you that the Senate on Tuesday has resolved to further investigate 10 trillion naira anchor borrowers program by the Central Bank of Nigeria, as well as accountable in the Ways and Means loans by the Apex Bank. The Red Chamber said the move was with a view to plug in loopholes in future development finance activities of the Apex Bank. The Senate resolved to set up ad hoc committee to investigate the details of the Ways and Means, including the various intervention programs. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Limes World TV or AVO TV, or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. It's time for business news. Let's now join Okpeyemi Owosheni for the latest updates.
Thank you, Tamilore. Hello and welcome to Business News. Bennett Korea, the National President of the Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria, NUGASA, has called upon the federal government to urgently declare a state of emergency on all Nigerian refineries. In a press conference, Korea emphasized that swift action is needed to accelerate repairs and enhance the value of the naira in the foreign exchange market. During the press conference, Korea highlighted the detrimental impact of the escalating dollar exchange rate on businesses across the nation.
The problem that is holding most of these refineries, modular refineries, to come up full capacity is this exchange rate. So the answer to it is that the government should come out and tell Nigerians, this is how much dollar is. Not this window, or whatever they call it on the radio and the TV, window, forest, or whatever. Let Nigeria, let the government come out and say, 500 naira to a dollar, or 200 naira to a dollar, whatever rate that they come out with, they should stand. Today, if you want to buy one truck of PMS, you are going to spend 30 million. And if you go to bank to take 30 million at 30-something%, you know how much you pay to bank. All in the name of this inflation or no inflation. So if care is not taken, we also will withdraw our service because there's no way out. You will agree with me that if we continue this way, we'll go to jail. Banks will jail all of us one by one. So this is the only opportunity we have to tell Nigerian government that if something is not done from now to the end of this month, it will affect the marketers. Right now, if you go to depot owners, everybody's struggling to get money from the bank because the cost is high. To import one cargo, something that you spend 1 billion naira now, you end up taking 15 billion, and you will not even make the profit as when you borrow 1 billion naira.
We'll go on a short break and be back with stock market reports. Nigeria's stock market has continued its negative trend, down by 1.3% on Tuesday, as investors fail to resume bargaining activities after Monday's dip. This week, the stock market has decreased by 4.41%, pushing this month's return to negative territory of 0.09%. Now, in the aggregate, 118 NGX-listed equities participated in trading, ending on a negative note with 8 gainers against 43 losers. Honeywell Flour Mills came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 10%, closing at 3 naira 60 kobo, followed by Boa Cement, which closed at 142 naira 95 kobo. Now, at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, NGX, a total of 256 million volumes of shares were exchanged in 8,783 deals, corresponding to a market value of over 6 billion were traded. Now, compared with the previous NGX trading day, that's Monday, February 19th, today's data shows 6% decline in volume, 11% decline in turnover, and 9% decline in deals. Now, a switch to our Select Global stock. It's a similar situation also for our Select Global stock, as the UK FTSE, Japan's Nikkei, and US Dow Jones ended in a bearish trade at 0.12%, 0.12%, and 0.28% respectively. That's it on both business and stock market reports. Back to you, Tamilore, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Okweyemi. Now, on the global scene, Yulia Navalnaya, the widow of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, has made a bold plea to the European Union, urging them to refuse to recognize Russia's upcoming presidential election in March. This move marks a significant escalation in our campaign against Russian President Vladimir Putin. Navalnaya, who accuses Putin of orchestrating her husband's murder, called on opposition supporters to intensify their effort in opposing the Kremlin chief. She condemned what she described as a corrupt elite ruling Russia, comprising bandits in uniform, thieves, and murderers. In her plea, she reiterated her commitment to seeking justice for Navalny's death and vowed that evidence of his assassination will be revealed soon by his allies. And up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Afrobeat star David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, has announced plans to donate the sum of 300 million naira to orphanages across Nigeria. The singer said he would make the donation through his foundation, the David Adeleke Foundation, as his yearly contribution to the nation as the country is going through economic hardship. Davido, who made the announcement via his X handle on Tuesday, promised to reveal details of the disbursement on Wednesday. In 2023, Davido extended the same gesture by donating the sum of 237 million naira to some orphanages across the country.
The Confederation of African Football (CAF) has reached a preliminary agreement for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations to be held in July and August next year in Morocco. This decision comes after CAF President Patrice Motsepe initially declined to confirm the tournament date, leaving organizers with limited time to prepare for a qualifying competition if it were to be held in January and February. However, scheduling the tournament in June and July next year would coincide with FIFA's expanded Club World Cup, slated to take place in North America. The proposed date for the tournament is July 20th to August 17th, 2025, with FIFA's support secured after months of negotiations. And that wraps up our bulletin on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tamilore Akinkwulie. Bye for now.